All right, today I want to talk about microservices. In the discussion of my last post, that was the most common example, if maybe the only one, when it came to over engineering. It seems that the discussion revolved around microservices constantly. And that's very interesting for me because microservices is one of those things that everyone knows what they are. It's like everyone can recognize one, but nobody can define. And why do I know that nobody can define it? Because there is no real definition of microservices, right? There are some, but they are wide enough to not be very useful, really. For example, let's talk about the micro part. How small is micro, right? Has to do one thing? Can it do two? Is it three too many? And what is a thing that it does? What about lines of code, for example? Is there an amount of lines of code? Is it like 250, 3,000, 2 million? You know, I can tell you maybe one is too small, the other one maybe too big, but where is the line? Nobody knows. And it doesn't matter really. Why? Because microservices are not a technical tool. They don't solve a technical problem. And I think this is the most controversial part and the part that so many people have a hard time understanding is that every single problem that people give you when they migrate from a monolith to a microservice, 99% of those problems can be solved inside a monolith. If you talk about tests, take too long. Deployment, take too long. All of these things, you can fix them inside a monolith. Why do people still migrate? Because they are not solving a technical problem, they're solving an organizational one. And in many cases, it makes sense to migrate to microservices. They have lots of benefits, but they have also lots of problems. I'm not going to go into the benefits because I think everyone knows them. I think the interesting part is to talk about the trade off that you're making. Because as I said in a previous video, engineering is the art of trade offs. It's the art of managing complexity and trade offs. When you go to microservices, you gain a lot, but you also give up a lot of things. You give up centralization and control. Now, for example, in a monolith, you can have a centralized place where you know which lines of codes are in use and which ones are not, for example. You can statically analyze that. You lose that in a microservice world. You can know which dependencies you're using very easily. Imagine as an organization, you want to know what dependencies you're deploying, you have in production. If there is a vulnerability in one, where is that running? Near to trivial in a monolith. Now, in a microservice, you need to distribute that among each team. They need to do that. You need to give them tools to verify this for every single is orders of magnitude more complex. Every problem is more complex in a distributed environment. There are reasons why we go to distributed environments, but every problem is going to be more difficult in a distributed environment. Microservices give you a clear separation of concerns across teams. If you have clear boundaries, means that each team can work on their domain specifically without being impacted by decisions in another domain. And that's true, but that also comes with the trade-off that now you have a lot of communication overhead. And I don't mean only the systems having to communicate and serialize data and deserialize on the other end and make sure that the system is up and running and retrying and keeping a state for later retrying. But also the teams, the people have to communicate among themselves. And they have to tell you, hey, we're going to change the API, right? And you have a version in the API, great. But what happens? Now you need to maintain two versions because if you change from version 1 to 2 overnight, you might as well not have versions. But if you're going to change to version 3, you have to give me some period to migrate. And so you're going to maintain two versions of the same API. And if those two versions have different database schemas, for example, are you going to be writing to two different schemas at the same time? Do you understand the complexity that we're talking about here? It's orders of magnitude compared to monolith. And that's my point here, is that let's not pretend that microservices are only beneficial. They have their drawbacks, and let's not pretend like we're solving a technical problem when we talk about microservices. We're solving an organizational one. So to sum up, what I'm trying to say here is microservices, they're a great tool. I love them. I think they have a lot of benefits, but let's remember they are an organizational tool, not a technical one. And they come with a lot of technical side effects. Thank you for watching.